Anita Denise Baker is an American singer-songwriter. She is one of the most popular singers of soulful ballads during the height of the Quiet Storm period in the 1980s. Starting her career in the late 1970s with the funk band Chapter 8, Baker released her first solo album, The Songstress, in 1983. In 1986, she rose to stardom following the release of her platinum-selling second album, Rapture, which included the Grammy-winning single, Sweet Love. As of 2017, Baker has won 8 Grammy Awards and has 5 platinum albums, along with 1 gold album. Baker is a contralto, with a vocal range that extends her register to at least 3 octaves. Life and music career 1958–79. Early life, career beginnings and Chapter 8. Anita Baker was born on January 26, 1958, in Toledo, Ohio. When she was 2, her mother abandoned her and Baker was raised by a foster family in Detroit, Michigan. When Baker was 12, her foster parents died and her foster sister raised her afterwards. By the time Baker was 16, she began singing R&B at Detroit nightclubs. After one performance, she was discovered by bandleader David Washington, who gave her a card to audition for the funk band, Chapter 8. Baker joined Chapter 8 in 1975 and the group toured until securing a deal with Ariola Records in 1979. The group's first album, Chapter 8, was released that year and featured the singles, Ready for Your Love, a duet between Baker and bandmate Gerald Liles, and the Baker-led, I Just Want to Be Your Girl. After Ariola was bought out by Arista Records in 1979, Chapter 8 was dropped by the label who were convinced that Baker, as the group's lead singer, didn't have star potential. Baker returned to Detroit, working as a waitress and a receptionist until, in 1982, Otis Smith, a former associate of Ariola, convinced Baker to start a solo career under his Beverly Glen label. 1983–89. The Songstress, Rapture and Giving You the Best That I Got. Baker released her debut solo album, The Songstress, in May 1983. The album produced 4 singles, No More Tears, and its B-side, Will You Be Mine, Angel, and You're the Best Thing Yet. Angel became Baker's first top 10 single, reaching number 5 on the R&B charts in late 1983. You're the Best Thing Yet followed it in the R&B top 40 early the following year. Despite this early success, Baker later complained that she hadn't received any royalties from the work. In addition, the label delayed work on Baker's follow-up of The Songstress. By 1984, after 2 years, Baker sought to leave the label but was sued by Smith for breach of contract in 1985. After months in court debating the matter, it was concluded that Baker should be allowed to record for other labels, winning the case against Beverly Glen label owner Otis Smith. Baker then signed with the Warner Music Group Associated Elektra Records label in 1985 and began working on her next album. Her Elektra contract allowed the singer to have creative control and produce her own music. Baker used her old Chapter 8 bandmate, songwriter and producer Michael J. Powell on her first Elektra album, though label execs were initially unhappy with her choice of Powell over more established producers. In March 1986, Baker released her second album, Rapture. While sales were initially slow following the release of the album's debut single, Watch Your Step, Elektra released the mid-tempo ballad, Sweet Love, which became her first pop hit, reaching number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and also reaching the UK Top 20. The album eventually launched 3 further hit singles, including Caught Up in the Rapture, No One in the World, and Same Old Love. Throughout 1986 and 1987, Baker promoted the album by touring, headlining her first tour, the Rapture Tour, a show from which was later released on home video as A Night of Rapture. By 1988, the album had sold over 8 million copies worldwide, 5 million of which were sold in the United States alone. The album resulted in Baker's winning 2 Grammy Awards at the 1987 ceremony. In 1987, Baker collaborated with the Winans on their song, Ain't No Need to Worry, which gave Baker a 3rd Grammy, this time in the Best Soul Gospel Performance by a Duo or Group, Choir or Chorus category. Baker's follow-up, Giving You the Best That I Got, was released in October 1988 and immediately became a success, topping the Billboard 200 and selling 5 million copies worldwide, 3 million of which sold alone in the United States. The title track reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and topped the R&B and adult contemporary charts, becoming her most successful charted single. The follow-up, Just Because, reached the top 20 on the pop chart while also becoming an R&B chart topper, while a third single, Led Me Into Love, became a top 10 R&B hit. The album resulted in 3 more Grammy Awards for the singer. 1990–96. Compositions, Motherhood, Rhythm of Love and Tour. In 1990, Baker released Compositions, which had Baker more involved in the songwriting and production process and the first in which she began incorporating more jazz elements than in previous albums. The album launched the singles, Talk to Me, Soul Inspiration, and Fairy Tales, and eventually sold over 1 million copies. After the end of the album's touring and promotion schedule in 1991, Baker took a break from the business to settle down with her husband at the time, later having 2 children with him. Meanwhile, Elektra bought the rights to, and reissued, her first album, The Songstress. It has since sold more than 300,000 copies. After appearing on Frank Sinatra's Duets album, Baker returned to the charts with Rhythm of Love in 1994. The album featured Body and Soul, her first top 40 pop hit since 1989. The second single, the mid-tempo, I Apologize, won Baker an 8th Grammy. The album eventually sold over 2 million copies, her 4th consecutive platinum-selling album. Baker undertook the Rhythm of Love World Tour from December 14, 1994 to November 14, 1995. Baker was transferred to another label within the Warner Music Group, Atlantic Records, in 1996. Taking a hiatus after the end of the Rhythm of Love tour to care for her 2 sons, Baker returned to the studio in 2000. In May 2001, she filed a lawsuit against Zomba Recording and its Dreamhire division for alleged damage to her recordings by a hired 24-track tape machine. Due to a label restructuring, Baker was let go from Atlantic that November without releasing any material with the company. During this hiatus, Rhino Records released the compilation, The Best of Anita Baker, in June 2002. The album eventually was certified platinum by the RIAA, denoting sales in excess of 1 million units in the U.S. 2004–08. My Everything, Christmas Fantasy and Tour. That year, Baker returned to live performing, signing with Blue Note Records in March 2004. That September, Baker released the album, My Everything. The album peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the R&B charts, eventually being certified gold. In 2005, Baker released Christmas Fantasy, winning a Grammy nomination for the song, Christmas Time Is Here. In May 2005, Baker was awarded an honorary doctorate of music from Berklee College of Music. Starting in 2007, Baker embarked on a 2-year concert tour titled An Evening with Anita Baker. She occasionally sang the American national anthem at sports events. I met Anita at the Grammy Awards in 2007, said Mary J. Blige. I told how much she meant to me. She said, I'm glad that you picked up the ball where I left off. That meant a lot. 2010–present. New music, tour, and retirement. Baker had been working on a new album featuring the single, Only Forever, since 2010. In August 2012, Baker released her version of Tyrese's hit, Lately. The song made headlines for Baker after the song was played every hour, on the hour, throughout the day on urban adult contemporary radio, making her the first artist to make this kind of debut. Though Blue Note set release dates for the album in October and December 2012, Baker decided she still needed to work on the album, causing delays. The album never materialized. In February 2013, Baker returned to the national spotlight, performing Lately and Same Old Love on Jimmy Kimmel Live. That same month, she appeared at the Grammys where Lately was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance. In January 2017, Baker confirmed she had retired. She emerged from retirement in 2018. Personal life. Baker married Walter Bridgeforth Jr. on December 24, 1988. The couple separated in 2005 and finalized their divorce 2 years later. They have 2 sons, Walter Baker Bridgeforth and Edward Carlton Bridgeforth. Baker currently lives in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. Her son Walter is now attending Berklee College of Music in Boston, as a drum principal, majoring in music production and engineering. More than 5 years after her divorce, Baker filed for a legal name change from Bridgeforth to Baker in her private life. Baker publicly endorsed presidential candidate Andrew Yang in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary.